The time has finally arrived for me to do my very first Packers mock draft for the 2022 NFL draft season, and I am pretty excited. Ever since the Devonte Adams trade, I have been looking forward to and putting a lot more energy and excitement into the NFL draft. I think Brian Gutekunst and the rest of that Packers front office is ready to do some damage. With their later first round picks, their 2 second round picks, and then again in the third. So I'm excited, and I think this draft is going to be very pivotal, very important for the Packers front office as they try to balance holding on to this championship caliber team while also looking ahead and see how they can build their team so they don't crash and burn once Aaron Rodgers leaves. When you look at the positions of need for the Packers in this draft, there's a mix of positions where they need immediate replacements right now. Now is the time. Think wide receiver in that instance. And then there's also some positions where they just really need to get a head start the developing process so they can build a strong team in years to come, even if these players might take a few years to get them where they want them to. And that has been the traditional philosophy for the Packers over the past 2 or 3 decades. When it comes to the draft, we aren't looking for immediate replacements, but, let's get the developing process going. 2 or 3 years, they'll be stars. Rashawn Gary is the latest example of that draft and develop philosophy. So I'm really intrigued to see how the Packers will approach this draft, where they stand at an interesting point with their team. Let's start off with the 22nd selection in the first round. I have the Packers going with a wide receiver out of USC, Drake London, standing at 6'4", 219 pounds. I know there will be people absolutely furious if the Packers do not draft a wide receiver with one of their first round picks. So I'd actually love to see it. If the Packers go with a unsexy position like offensive or defensive tackle or edge rusher at their 22nd pick, I would love to see Twitter absolutely in flames. Especially, even better would be if Chris Olave was on the board and the Packers passed on him. Oh, man. Twitter would be an absolute joy to visit. So I'm looking forward to that. But back to Drake London. As a player, he kind of reminds me of what Equanimeous St. Brown showed promise to be in his rookie year. Somebody that can make the contested catches, make those 50-50 balls, bring them down, and then, he's tall. He uses that to his advantage, just like EQ did. And both of them also, they were physical after the catch. They were going to fight for those yards. Drake is a yak machine, also a deep threat. So whether the Packers do or do not sign MVS, I think Drake London would be a much-needed piece to this Packers offense, even if he doesn't make an immediate impact. Hopefully, they sign a hot free agent name to be that wide receiver one. With the 28th pick, I have the Packers going with Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher out of Florida State University. A tall, big guy at 6'5", 254 pounds. And another Packers comparison, I'm going to compare him to Rashawn Gary coming out of college. Rashawn's biggest criticism coming out of Michigan was that he wasn't powerful and that he kind of relied too much on his athletic skills and traits. And that's kind of what I see in Jermaine Johnson. Not as a criticism, but man, I really have no idea how he gets off blocks sometimes. He is just so quick, and once he gets off you, once he gets that little advantage, he is gone. And by the time you look around, he's sacking the quarterback or bringing him down. So, Jermaine Johnson, I'd love to see him in Green Bay. And I'm sure Pro Football Focus and many other sites would give the Packers a D- for this selection in their instant draft grades, which are the most useless pieces of content ever created. But, that's not the point. Jermaine Johnson, I think, would be a great rotational piece. Would fit in perfectly with Joe Barry's defense, I believe. He played in a 4-3 system at Florida State, but there was a lot of hope before this season started on having 3 linebackers on the field at the same time. They could move Za'Darius all around the line, and then they'd have Rashawn and Preston setting the edge, and that would be exciting to see. Even if Jermaine doesn't have a big role in his rookie season, down the line, I think he and Rashawn Gary would prove to be a scary pass rushing duo. Now on to the second selection the Packers received from the Raiders, and oddly enough, I have the Packers using that pick they received from the Devonte Adams trade on a guy named Devonte Wyatt out of Georgia, a defensive tackle standing at 6'3", 304 pounds. Now, he might not be as skillful and as athletic as his big boy teammate over there at Georgia was, and Jordan Davis, who I'd love for the Packers to get at pick 22 if he fell to them, but that's besides the point. I would love to see Devonte Wyatt on this line. Get Kenny Clark some help. Eat up those blocks. He could help out a lot in the run game. Sniff up some screens, man. I don't know. I just want a big man on this line to help Kenny Clark out, and his name should not be Tyler Lancaster. Be a big fan of this pick. Be a big fan of just the Packers investing in a defensive tackle with an early pick. And for my final selection that I will be making for the Packers in this video, pick 59, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting a safety, Jalen Pitre, out of Baylor, standing at 6'0", 198 pounds. I'm going to be a strong advocate for this man. He's small, and he might play safety, but I think he fills a massive role on this Packers defense. Think Raven Green a few years ago, and Mike Pettine's defense certainly seemed to value this position more than Joe Barry's did, but you still need it, and it was a big problem for the Packers last year, especially near the end of the season. The Packers kind of tried Henry Black out to play in that third safety / middle of the field role, and here he misses a tackle badly. Now, this play isn't the best example of the position Jalen Pitre would exactly play, but Henry Black is a bad tackler, missed him many times this season, and bad in coverage. The Packers need to do something at that position. I love Raven Green. He was an aggressive tackler when he was on the field. Jalen Pitre, he specializes in coverage as he did play safety and cornerback. Also the perfect fit for that nickelback role. He can tackle, even though he's smaller. I'm definitely going to be watching a lot of highlights on him, get familiar with him, because I would love the Packers to take him, and I think it makes sense for the Packers. In other words, it seems like a pick the Packers would make. They wouldn't go out there and select, Sky Moore in the second round. No, they're going to go with a versatile piece, a project, if you will, in Jalen Pitre. He kind of reminds me of Javion Holland out of Oregon, who the Dolphins drafted last year. Just another versatile safety / cornerback. I'm not sure how Holland did with the Dolphins last year, but I know I was a big fan of him coming out of the draft. So hopefully the Packers redeem themselves to me this year by selecting Jalen. All right, that is all I have for you today. I thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these picks in the comments down below, especially if you disagree. I would really appreciate if you let down in the comments below how I am completely wrong and how you are so furious at me because I didn't select the players you wanted in a mock drafts. That's fine. You can go over to some site that has the Packers selecting all wide receivers, selecting all immediate needs, which is such an unrealistic prediction for the Packers. So you can go along, have fun with that, because mock drafts in the end are, I'm not going to say stupid because that would seem pretty illogical then for me to create a whole video that I spent over an hour on and research and editing and filming. But I don't put too much value into mock drafts. This is really just me, picking and choosing players that I think fit what the Packers need and that I think will be available, doing some brief research, throwing some highlights on the screen, and hoping you guys are convinced by my descriptions of them. Whether you enjoyed it or not, I thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to Underage Packers on all the social channels. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later. Go Pack Go.